In this episode of Sister Wives, Meri makes an unexpected comment, suggesting that Cody helping her move could be his severance package, since they're not legally married and he's not obligated to give her anything when they split.
It's a reality check that's all too common in polygamous relationships. When these marriages end, many wives are left with nothing because there's no legal protection. Meri's situation really highlights how vulnerable women can be in plural marriage when things fall apart.
Let's dive into how this plays out for Meri and what it says about the challenges women face when leaving polygamous relationships. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Sam.
And I'm Melissa.
I was raised in a family with 4 moms and 35 kids. We were members of the F-LDS Church, which is a polygamous group run by their prophet, Warren Jeffs, who is now serving a life sentence in prison.
I was raised mainstream LDS in Utah. Sam and I have been married for 10 years and have 2 awesome kiddos.
Yes, we do. We want to quickly thank our donors, YouTube members, patrons on Patreon, and all of our wonderful subscribers. We have this really big goal of reaching 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So if you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, today we're back with our fresh eyes on Sister Wives. It is episode 10, and every single little piece of the journey, I feel like we keep learning like more and more things about Meri's story. I feel like it's always been kind of quiet. We're just like, why has she been around for so long? But I felt like this episode really gave us a lot more insight on why she hung around for so long, and maybe some things about Robin that we didn't know.
Definitely some things about Robin. Yes. So combining these two together, there were a few of those moments in this episode as we watched. So very interesting for us to see some behind the curtain, I guess.
Yes. I mean, we got to start out with Christine first, because obviously she is still dating David and they move in together. They're buying a house. It's a very nice big house that they plan on having grandkids around and all of their children around. So it's cute to watch them go through that process. The fact, everyone keeps talking about everybody in every single episode is how fast everything's moving. It's only been a couple months. They're moving in together. Isabel's like, you're sure this is right? Because you're not even engaged yet, and yet you're moving in together. And Christine's like, yeah, it's forever. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Hearing some of Isabel's perspective was sad. She's definitely in this situation where if you go back to last season, she's the same young girl that went for this major back surgery and her dad wasn't there to support her. And then fast forward to now, and she's just so concerned about completely losing her dad. Yeah. So sad to hear her story.
Yeah, she asked Christine, like, David's not going to try to replace dad, right? Like, he's not going to try to replace him. But you could tell when she was talking about it, like, especially when she was talking to producers afterwards in her interview, it's not really about David. It's about the fact that she feels like she's losing Cody, because she even said, she's like, Christine saying David will be there in whatever capacity you need. And Isabel mentioned like David is super there for his kids whenever they need anything. And she kind of got teary eyed, and it made me feel so sad for her, because I think more than whether or not David's going to try to replace her dad, it's going to be, is David just going to be willing to be there for me in a way that my own dad isn't? And she wishes that her dad was going to be more like David.
Right. It also makes me wonder how much of the story we're not hearing on the TV, right? I mean, how much has Isabel already tried? I guess what I'm saying here is it's on Cody. It really is on Cody. Yeah. If she's feeling that way, I don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes here, but if Cody was trying harder, if Cody was putting forth that effort, I know there's this messy situation between him and Christine, but she is his child. It is on him.
Yeah. So it was sad to see Isabel get emotional like that. Her bringing up, and Christine and her talking about the fact that this is going to be the first time that Christine's lived with a man full time.
That was fun, right?
It was just such a funny conversation, because Christine's right. Like, Christine's sitting there, she's like, I have to remember, like, this is normal. This is like what normal people do. They get married to someone and they get to live with them. And
she was trying to convince herself that this is okay. This will be fine. Okay. I'm okay with this.
Well, and I mean, I can't even imagine, as she's describing, having her husband, she's before with Cody, when you see him every 4th night, maybe, right? Every 3rd to 4th night, and he comes home for dinner, stays there overnight, and then the next day he's gone again. And that's such a small amount of time. I mean, that's going to be some weeks you're only going to see them once an entire week, and you're raising, how many kids does Christine have? 6 kids?
Sure.
a lot.
I'm going to go with 6.
Yeah. And you're doing all of this basically as a single mom, but with a husband who's coming and going a lot. And so even all the little things, she's like, oh, David will do that. Or I asked David to do something and he just can do it right away. And she's not splitting up or having a honey-do list. That's never going to happen because she's only seeing her husband one night out of the week or maybe twice out of an entire week.
She's going into this relationship knowing that she will be his everything. And that she's the priority. I mean, how amazing that must feel for her. Yes, it will be different, and it might take some time to get used to waking up and having a guy in her bed every single morning.
She's going to love it.
But I think she's going to love it, and I think she, in this moment, is very excited about that being the possibility and that being her new life, for sure.
Yeah, so that's super cute and sweet. And then in this episode, we do get to see him actually propose to her in Moab, which was just super special, super cute.
I love that, I'm not calling them old, but older than we are slightly.
Yeah.
I love seeing these people just so in love and Twitter-pated, if that's a real word, to the point where David, when he was proposing, you could tell was just so nervous. I mean, and he's, and all the experience he's had in his life and all the kids and grandkids, and he's still getting excited and nervous about proposing. So I loved seeing the raw moment in that proposal.
Yeah, it was super cute. And I mean, there's just constantly these comparisons. She's like, I got a real proposal, regular proposal. And then all of the things that are coming with monogamy that she's experiencing for the first time is super, super cute.
Yeah, she validated my feelings about that she only got married to Cody out of duty, not out of love. And she basically admitted by saying those exact words in this episode that this is the first time she's getting married for love.
Yeah,
so
that she's been in love like this.
That's sad that so many years of her life were spent in this out of duty marriage, not out of love.
Yeah. It was cute when the two of them got to go babysit the twins and Christine talking and opening up a lot about her experience being mostly the stay-at-home mom because Janelle was out working. Meri would work as well, and Christine was really raising the babies. And they were talking about, I think it was Gabe and Gwen, were 4 days apart.
It's like having twins.
Yeah, exactly. And how it was the same as having the twins there that they were babysitting, except for these twins. They get to hand back to McKelty and Tony at the end of the night. But talking about the struggles of just being in a plural family, having those babies so close together, being the primary caretaker for them. And Meri even opened up about the struggles of them not being allowed to say that they were in a plural family. And two of the wives are 4 days postpartum, like just barely had babies. They're only 4 days apart. And Meri's asking for work off, but not really able to say why, wanting to be there for her sister wives while they're healing, And so it really, I don't know. I feel like when they were talking about it, you could see that in their eyes, the sadness of just like that whole situation being like, man, we had to go through that. And not that they're not happy that they have all their kids and that everything was the way it was or is where they are at now.
Right.
You can't like look back with regrets towards that. But you could see in all their faces just that was a whole different lifetime ago, I think, for all of them.
It's just so, when I think back on my experience growing up in a polygamous family, it's so baffling and interesting to me that there are quite a few people. I mean, if you think about why they're growing up and living in polygamy, right?
Yeah.
And when you mentioned that they were afraid to tell people that they were living in polygamy, that's something that has been around forever, it seems like. I was told stories after stories after stories about my grandfather going to prison for polygamy and my dad being nervous about people finding out that he was living polygamy, all of these things. And it all comes down that in some point along their road, along their life, they were convinced that polygamy is the only way to return to God.
Yeah.
If you just think about that for a minute, in order to return to God, I must enter into a polygamous marriage where if you're the wife, you will have multiple sister wives. If you're the husband, you will have multiple wives. It's just such a baffling thing to me now that I'm married and out of it, looking from the outside looking in now, and just thinking about the fact that that is core doctrine in these churches.
Well, and that it's to be like endured through, right? Because they all talk about how the challenges have been there the whole time. From the very beginning, there was challenges between Meri and Janelle. Christine eased it a little bit. Then they're having, I think Christine said at one point, 5 babies in diapers at one time. That she had to have a system in when she was changing diapers. I cannot imagine. Having one child in diapers is a lot of diaper changing. It's a lot. I cannot imagine taking care of 5 kids in diapers at one time. Sounds exhausting. And then they're having all of their relationship issues between each other and trying to not have jealousy and trying to be there for each other's kids. And, you know, in this episode, I felt like we really got to see a little bit more of Meri sharing about her relationship with Saul and Ari. And she had been talking about the fact that even in Flagstaff over the last couple of years, she was trying to make an effort because she always felt close to those babies because she was the closest to Robin, and how she wasn't really getting access to them the way that she had hoped. So
insight into Robin. A little bit. And I mean, if she's not, because Robin's the same one. Another thing we kind of got some hints at is she was not allowing Cody to let Meri go.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, not allowing Meri to come in and see her kids. Like, there's a disconnect here.
And telling Meri
something...
not to leave.
Right.
So I don't know if it was like as selfish as what it sounds, but it feels so selfish to be like, don't leave because I'm supposed to have sister wives, but I'm not really going to treat you like a sister wife. I'm not going to let you be another mother to my children because I'm their mother and you're not. Like, there's definitely a very weird disconnect. And then as soon as Cody said, Robin told me that I can't give up on this marriage, that Meri has to be the one to choose to walk away, I was like, you've got to freaking be kidding me. Right. So you're saying that Robin is behind this because Meri talks about the fact that Cody said he knew 2 years before. He knew 2 years ago that he was done with Meri.
But that didn't stop him from egging her on. Yeah. That didn't stop him from leaving these little breadcrumbs along the way to give her this false hope.
And Robin would do that too.
Which Robin would do as well. And now it's sounding like part of those breadcrumb droppings and part of Cody giving this false hope was because Robin was, in a way, forcing him to do it. Which, in my mind, the only way I can even begin to try to make sense of this is that Robin, once again, was doing this out of duty, not out of love. Mm-hmm. She was doing it because she felt like it was the only way to return to God, is to have these polygamous wives. But aside from that, she clearly doesn't want polygamy. Yeah. She clearly does not want to share Cody with other women. It's very obvious she doesn't want to share her kids with other women. I mean, she's just, it's so baffling. It was all done out of duty, and then she's over here crying that it's all falling apart. And I'm just thinking, what did you expect?
There's quite a few moments where it's like you wanting your cake and you want to eat it too. You want to be able to say that you're in this happy plural family. You want that dream that you were sold by Cody, and yet your actions don't match up to that, right? And at the same time, Cody is doing the same thing with Meri, where Meri goes to their house to say, basically out of kindness, because she doesn't need to say anything to them, right? I'm going to be moving to Utah. And Cody has the nerve say, the vulgarity to say, why so soon, Meri? Why are you leaving so soon? I couldn't even.
even Meri switched a scene in front of the producers with Meri, and it switched to Meri saying, what do you want from me, Cody? Like, why would you say that? You tried to get rid of me for so many years. And then finally go. And then I finally say, okay, I'm leaving. And he says, why are you leaving so soon?
It feels like the end of an era. You know, and it looks like they gave like the sneak peeks for next week. Looks like it's going to be even more dramatic about that. But I'm just like, I felt like almost wanting to just be like, how dare you? Like, how dare you ask her that or make it sound like you still want her there or that she needs to what? She's supposed to just wait around in her house in Flagstaff while she's not allowed to see the kids, while she's not going to be a part of any family functions because she's no longer part of the family, while she doesn't speak to you or you interact with her at all because she's not your wife anymore. But somehow her presence in the community is valuable to you in some way?
Even though there's no connection, no seeing each other. I mean,
no, it's absurd.
Some of the stuff that he says, I almost have to wonder if it's to create more drama, create more for people to talk about. The only way that we're going to keep these ratings is if we say really stupid things. And so, like, you know, it almost seems like there's someone holding this sign, this poster, a producer in the back, say, Cody, say this, say this. People are going to love this stuff.
Ask her why she's leaving.
Ask her why she's leaving.
Nobody knows. The viewers want to, we want to know. The viewers need to know why.
Why she's leaving. Why? I mean, isn't there
all of us are
something
shocked.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It was rough.
Anyway,
But
so the fact that he said that, yes, it was just very surprising to me.
I couldn't believe it. And then even the way Robin acted about her telling the kids, well, I don't know if I want the kids to know quite yet that you're leaving. I'm like, you make it sound like she's in their life every single day. And Meri just barely shared that over the last couple of years, they've barely had access to her. And it's not that they don't know who she is and that she's a part of their life. And I get that it's going to be hard that Meri's not going to come around for holidays. It's not the same as a family friend. She's been treated like a family friend, even though she was supposed to be a wife, for years and years. A family friend that you invite over.
She became a family friend after being married to Cody for how many years before this wife that is now his wife came into the picture?
Yes.
Because that's the thing too, is you have to remember she was there first. She was there first. And now she's being treated as this third wheel.
Yeah.
And not like she's not even important, even though she was his first love, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, first wife.
Ugh.
But yeah, so she's been treated like this family friend. But the thing is, so the kids know who she is. They care about her, right? But she's not going to come over for Thanksgiving or Christmas or these big family events that she did, you know, once a year, twice a year, where you see the extended family. Like, she's not going to be there anymore. Right. So I get that, why that's sad for the kids, for sure. But Robin acting like she needs to protect them from it because it's going to be this devastating thing for them not to see her the once or twice a year that they do is, I'm like, come on, Robin, like, that's enough. We know.
And okay, I have to wonder what was told to these kids beforehand too. There must have been something, some kind of conversation with these kids before, because what Meri said is, I'm moving. You know, the house I have in Utah, I'm going to move to Utah. I don't know. I feel like if the kids just heard that alone and that was it, then they would still have hope that she would come around and visit, probably just as much as she has been. But I think that there was something told to these kids that, hey, you know, before the cameras came in, Meri's probably going to come over and tell us that she's leaving. You'll probably never see her again. I don't know. Something like that would have got these kids in that position where they were so sad about it.
Yeah, they're obviously hearing things. There's no way that I know they're in a little bit of a bubble there with Cody and Robin, but they are not oblivious to how often they're seeing their siblings or these other mothers and who's leaving. They know what's going on. That's why I think it was Brianna wasn't surprised, right? Like, she was just asking questions.
Right.
She's like, oh, okay, right. Is it you're going here? Like, acting like she probably doesn't know all the deets, which I guarantee she does.
I'm sure she knew already.
She talks to Robin.
Yeah, she knew what was going on. And the way she asked questions, I figured it sounded like she already knew. She was just asking some questions.
Yeah.
To be polite.
And because the cameras were there and they have to.
Yeah.
But when she comes and says, hey, would you please come and help me move the truck? That could be your severance package.
Come help me move.
Come help me move. And Cody, I think it was in a separate interview where he's like, I wasn't sure, like, if she was trying to make a stab at me, if she was just joking, like, what it was. And I'm like, probably all of the above. Because this is the main issue that Sam and I have seen in lots of different scenarios, and it's happened now multiple times with the Brown family, right? Is that plural wives that aren't the legal wives do not have legal protection when it comes to separation in a plural family.
Yep. It's very true. And I saw the same thing in the FLDS church as well. At first, you know, all of the people that were getting married would get married legally to their first wife, even in the FLDS church, just like the Brown family did. And then the wives to follow were not legally married. I mean, it's illegal, so of course they weren't. But then as time went on, Warren Jeffs put an end to that and even first wives became just spiritually married, as they would call it.
Yeah.
And that made it very easy, as an example to where we're going with this, it made it very easy for Warren Jeffs to say, actually, you're not married anymore. I'm going to take you and I'm going to put you with this man and you're kicked out of the town. And there wasn't any kind of legal action that could be taken about that because it was all just under the guise of spirituality.
Yeah.
So it made it very tricky. And the same goes for all of the women that follow the first wife to be married. In this case, they gave up her marriage so that Robin could take that spot.
When Meri mentioned the fact, she's like, I didn't ask for alimony when we did the legal divorce, so I don't really have claim to anything. And this is the same thing Janelle's mentioned, and it can cause, it causes so many problems. One, it makes women really feel like they're completely left on their own. If they choose to leave, they're losing a lot more than just the family, right? Like they could lose everything. In Janelle's case, she's like, I need to get my affairs in order. And all she has left is hoping that they'll be fair at Coyote Pass, which is why she's so nervous. And she's been waiting around and probably hanging around much longer than she would have if she had had her own estate or something to her name, which she doesn't. And she's mentioned that for years now. She's like, I don't have anything. If I leave Cody, I don't have anything of my own. And it's like starting completely over from scratch, like as if you haven't been married for 25 years.
Right.
And same with Meri.
Yeah.
Thank goodness she has the house. Thank goodness she did that independently and said, I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to do this whether or not Cody likes it, whether or not any of the family can help me. And so she actually had something of her own to go to and that can help support her afterward. But she even mentioned, she's like, yeah, I don't have anything to show for my 30 years of marriage.
And that's just it. 30 years, 25 years, whatever. It's a long time to then just be kicked out.
Yeah.
That's just so, it'd be one thing if they'd been married for a couple of years and then, okay, well, I need to go figure out my life now on my own. That would be one thing. But they put all their life into this. It's been their whole life for so many years to then be kicked out, for lack of a better term, and have nothing to show for it other than some kids, of course. But other than that, financially, that's just very difficult.
Yeah. You don't have, there's nothing to even split really. Right?
Yeah.
So it's sad to see, and it's very common, and that's also sad. And one thing that we've heard, which we kind of wanted to get everyone's opinion on, we'll share first, is that if polygamy was legalized, would that help these women who would then be able to have access to their husband's estate? They would be able to have access to alimony if there was a breakup. Would it hold men more accountable to their plural marriages if every single one of those marriages were legalized?
Or would it just create a bigger problem and allow for more groups to be created, polygamous groups, and more people to rush into these plural marriages if it was legal and potentially cause more problems in the future? That's our question of the week. Let us know what you think.
Yes. If you guys want to hear more of our thoughts on Sister Wives, I have no idea how many more episodes there's going to be of this season, but
yeah, they won't tell us.
There's a lot more info that we know is supposed to happen in this season. So I think we have a little bit more to come. But if you want to hear more of that or more of what it was like for Sam to grow up in polygamy, then please like and subscribe.
Yes. Thank you all so much for being here with us again. And we look forward to talking with you soon.
Talk to y'all soon.